Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. I do want to apologize because I haven't been keeping up with these Loki videos, but I've been really enjoying the show, and it was getting to be too much to do one per episode, especially because episodes 2 and 3 in particular, were kind of slow. So I'm lumping episodes 1 to 4 together in this review, which is probably going to be releasing on Wednesday at this point, so I'll do a separate one for 5 and 6 together, I think. But that's enough of, my plans for how I'm going to review this show. Loki is the best Disney Plus series by far, which is why I feel embarrassed that I haven't been doing my weekly videos on it, because I really, really love it. I love, everything with the TVA and the world building. The special effects are like amazing. The story is great. I love Loki, and he was not one of my favorite characters before this show. And so I've just really been enjoying going along for the ride and making theories, because that was something that was really missing from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And Loki is giving me, more of a WandaVision vibe. It's bringing me back to that same level of excitement. Loki himself is a pretty good new version of the character, but I think he went from like the all-out villain that he was in Avengers 1 to a hero again way too fast. I missed 2012 Loki because he had an edge. He's at his best in Avengers 1 for me. That's my favorite Loki. And by this point in the series, by episode 4, and particularly actually in episode 3, he just felt like Ragnarok Loki. He felt like Ragnarok Loki in episode 3, even though he was literally trying to enslave the Earth like 2 weeks before that. And that was just really quick for me. I didn't like that. I didn't like in episode 1 how he was so vulnerable with Mobius, and he was like, oh, I'm a coward. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, it really irritated me because I feel like they took all of the edge away from Loki immediately, and if that was the case, then why did he need to be a 2012 variant? Because that's the advantage that the 2012 version has over the Ragnarok version. Like, yes, he would have been cowed by the Infinity Stones and the power of the TVA, but I still don't think any version of Loki would drop his guard that quickly with someone that he doesn't know. I do love Sylvie as well, but my biggest problem with her is that combining Lady Loki and Enchantress into one character it's just lazy and annoying. I think Sophia DiMartino is doing an incredible job. I really love her costume. I love her magic. I think that she's a really great character, but I was excited for Lady Loki, not for Enchantress in a Loki variant's body. And so that bothers me because she is one of the best parts of the show, but she should have just been Enchantress, or she should have just been Lady Loki. Honestly, I'd prefer if she was Enchantress pretending to be a Loki variant, because that has to be where she's headed by the end of the show. He keeps talking about how she enchants people, and she goes by Sylvie, which was the name of the second Enchantress in the comics. So I think it's quite clear that she'll end up as Enchantress by the end of the show. But I just don't like that they've mashed these characters together, because I was excited to see Tom Hiddleston Loki. I was excited to see his gender fluidity, to see him become Lady Loki. And we're not getting that, and so that does really bother me, because I think that it's just a lazy cop-out. The TVA is awesome. I really love like the old 70s aesthetic. I love Miss Minutes. She's like my favorite part of the TVA, and I'm really sad that we haven't seen her since episode 2, because they said she was going to have her own character arc, and so I kind of hope that she's a villain. But it was always suspicious, and I'm really sad about, certain things with the TVA, because it's like, can we not just have one organization that's not corrupt? But I love the Hunters, like I love Hunter B-15. I love C-20 was really good. I'm really sad that she's apparently dead now, because I thought that both of those actresses are doing a fantastic job. And Owen Wilson is a lot of fun as Mobius. I do really like Mobius, but all he does is talk to Loki for like a half hour in every single episode except for number 3. And while that was fine in 1, I was already getting bored of it by 2. And then in episode 4, it was better because he was, discovering the truth. But it just feels like they keep having the same exact conversation about like Loki's weakness and everything. And it's just getting really irritating. I wish that they hadn't spent so much time on that at the start of the show, and that they had just zeroed in on it in episode 4, like with the scene with Sif, and have Loki talk to Mobius about it then. Because again, that ties back to what I was saying. I don't think Loki would have been so vulnerable with someone he didn't know, so it would have been more natural to him for him to be vulnerable with Mobius by the time of episode 4. Gugu Mbatha Raw is doing a great job as Ravonna Renslayer as well. I was really excited for her. I love that actress, and I thought that Renslayer would be a super interesting character because she's super tied into Kang the Conqueror from the comics. But it's so boring that she's like just a villain by episode 4. I was really hoping that we'd get something more interesting from her and something more interesting from the entire TVA than just everything being a lie. But that being said, like, we still don't have the whole story, so I'm hoping that there's like something more interesting there. But I didn't want Renslayer to be, like the person covering everything up. I wanted her to also be unaware of what was really going on while thinking that she was in control. And so I'm just sad to see that she is just like another like written off like corrupt government official in the MCU. I think the rules of time travel are still a bit confusing because I don't understand how, like late Loki could have been born a woman in like one timeline. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that it seems like a plot hole now, but I'm willing to bet the answer is that there is a multiverse out there that it's just been covered up. Like Miss Minutes said, the multiverse is gone. Also, that entire animation was super hinting towards like WandaVision. She literally said multiverse and madness and Nexus event, and WandaVision had that Nexus ad. So this stuff is all clearly setting up Doctor Strange too. But I do think it's a little bit confusing. So hopefully we have some more clarification on that by the end of the series. I loved that Sylvie was hiding in apocalypses. I think that that was a really nice idea. I loved it when they cracked that in episode 2, and it was really interesting. But episode 3 felt like filler. I know it had character development, but like not even, because we don't find anything out about Sylvie in that episode, really. We find it all out at the start of episode 4. So I think the start of episode 4 actually should have been the end of episode 3, because 4 was like the greatest Disney Plus episode ever. It was so much fun. It gave us so many answers. Like, so much happened in that episode that like the Sif cameo was overlooked, which I think is hilarious, because in any other episode that would be like one of the biggest conversations to come out of it. And I just don't know where the show's going from here, because episode 4 felt like an episode 5. Feels like there should only be one episode left to wrap up the show. So I don't really understand, what we're actually going to get in episode 5, but I'm really excited to find out. And I thought the end credits scene with all of the different Loki variants was a really exciting tease, and so I'm very excited to see them in action. I do have a big theory about Loki, and I am now a writer for the new website, The Cosmic Circus, so I'm going to link to that so you guys can read it. But basically, I think that the Timekeepers never existed, and that Kang is the one who created the TVA. Because he has a doomed love story with Ravonna in the comics. She fell into a coma, so I think the MCU Kang made the TVA. All the employees are variants, so he found a Ravonna variant, made her a hunter. She became a judge, and then I think that he told her that everything was a lie, and now they're working together to guarantee that at the end of time, the sacred timeline is the one that means that Kang and her, like, win whatever their goals are. Like, they're going to come out on top at the end of time, and they'll be able to be together. I also think that the TVA could be in the quantum realm because time moves differently, and all of this would tie into Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which we know Kang is the main villain of. So you can read the article because my thoughts are organized a little bit better there. In terms of Lego ideas for this show, there's a lot that I would want to see. I would definitely love to see a set for the TVA, just something with that orange aesthetic, maybe just the room with Loki and Mobius. And I'd really like to get Miss Minutes as like a figure or like a buildable character. I don't know. I really like her. However, I think that a Lamentis set would actually be pretty cool. If Loki was going to get a set, I think that it should definitely be that scene right at the end of their time on Lamentis when, everything's crashing down around them. Because you could get minifigures of Sylvie, Loki, and then you could throw in Mobius, Renslayer, and then maybe even Hunter B-15. Just because, that's when the TVA came to get them off the planet. Another cool Lamented set idea would be to actually just do the train. That train was, like, gorgeous, second only to, like, the Capital train from the Hunger Games in terms of how much I like it. But you could also do, like, the Ark that was destroyed. I don't know if that would really be worth doing a set, but, Star Wars has done sets based off of ships that blew up after 5 seconds of screen time. So I think that anything would be awesome as long as we could get minifigures of those, like, 4 to 5 main characters. So that sums up my thoughts on the first 4 episodes of Loki. I can't wait to see where it goes. I can't wait to explore that post-apocalyptic New York City with the Loki variants. And I am hoping and praying that Kang shows up at the end of episode 5. I really want him to be revealed at the very end. But I'm just excited to get answers because it's been a lot of fun theorizing, but this show hasn't really been what they promised. I mean, like, the synopsis for Loki was that it was like a crime thriller with Loki time traveling and altering like human events in the past. that's not in this show whatsoever. We got one scene of him where he was DB Cooper. We got one scene of him going to Pompeii, and that was just to like test a theory. He has not been changing the past at all. They haven't really been time traveling at all, really. They just did it in episode 2, and that was pretty much it. So, I don't know. The show isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's also like amazing, and I really like it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm excited to see the multiverse, which I'm sure that this is building towards, but it just doesn't seem like it was the show that they told us it was going to be, and I don't really love that because there's no need to say that he's going to alter human history when he doesn't do that at all. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com. I'll see you guys with more videos soon. Bye for now.